He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
He was that, bruh. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Everybody knows who King Von was. His name still echoes everywhere. But today, let's talk about the man behind the legend, the one who made King Von's story even possible, a dude known as Silk from Ada Park. Before there was Davon Daquan Bennett, there was Walter E. Bennett, better known on the block as Silk. Even though these two look so much alike, people say they could pass as twins. There's actually a solid 20-year gap between them. Von's pops, Walter, was born on October 28, 1974, and from the jump, his life was far from normal. According to several sources, Silk's parents were so deep in the game that having him in a regular hospital wasn't even an option. They couldn't risk anyone showing up looking for trouble. The streets were wild back then.
In 2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von. Like, if you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was gonna be in shootings, accept that it was gonna be that, and you had to be with it, you feel me, with Von, you feel me?
So instead, Walter was delivered by a midwife, wrapped up on smooth silk sheets. And that's exactly how he got his name. Silk. Silk's parents weren't just surviving in the streets, they were thriving. They had enough money to wrap their baby boy in real silk sheets because their hustle game was strong. Growing up in Ada Park, right in the heart of Morgan Park, Silk was surrounded by both danger and respect from day one. His pops was that calm, old-school gangster, the kind of man who didn't say much, but when he did, everybody listened. But his mama, she was a firecracker. Even though she was a woman, nobody dared test her. If you talked slick, she'd straighten you out real quick. Yet beneath that toughness, she was sharp, independent, and highly respected all through the hood. That fearless spirit, Silk got it straight from her. After a while, Silk's parents went their separate ways, and that's when another key figure stepped into his life, his stepdad, Big Reggie. Now, Big Reggie wasn't just any street name. He was a certified legend, a millionaire hustler who schooled Silk on how to move smart and stay 2 steps ahead. That mentorship shaped him into who he would become, a street icon in the making. But funny enough, before Silk fully dove into that lifestyle, he was barely in the streets at all.
And this was a lot of the time, everybody didn't want to hang with him. They couldn't, because you had to be on what he was on. A lot of them wasn't on what Von was on, because Von was like that, you feel me? So that was faking, for sure ain't want to end up somewhere with Von by themselves, you feel me? Niggas that was soft, really didn't want had nothing to do with this. They went back, they weren't trying to kick with Von and stay around him too long, you feel me?
People from Ada Park still remember seeing him out there shooting hoops and hanging around the basketball court. Just a kid with dreams long before the legend began. Silk might not have been the tallest dude on the court, but he had serious skills. He could ball for real, smooth, confident, and sharp with his moves. People around Ada Park still say he had the kind of talent that could have taken him all the way to the NBA. And that right there was a life-changing crossroads. If Silk had made it to the league, everything after might have looked completely different. Imagine that. If he'd gone pro, he would have pulled his whole family out of the hood. King Von wouldn't have grown up in O-Block, might have never even touched Weak City. No running the streets, no wild stories, no V-Roy, no OTF, nothing. He probably would have just been living the good life as the son of an NBA player, spoiled and safe, miles away from the chaos that would later define his legacy.
I knew who hired him, the whole city knew who hired him, because Silk allegedly broke into a house and took some money, and the people had cameras or whatever the case may be. And I later found out who it was, and I didn't know him from a can of paint. They like, man, you got to know him, you know, and so I don't know him. And word got back to me that somebody dropped a bug in his ear and let him know that I ain't about that, and I ain't, you know, I'm a Muslim and I'm doing this, that, and that.
But fate had other plans. Instead of chasing hoops, Silk got pulled deep into the streets, linking up with the Black Disciples. That move flipped his whole life around, and not in a good way. He started hustling hard, and soon enough, the law caught up with him. Silk ended up catching a heavy charge that landed him 9 long years inside Menard Correctional Facility, one of the toughest, coldest prisons in the state. When he finally came home, though, things were different. Silk's name held weight, real weight. He earned respect the hard way by keeping his mouth shut and standing solid while locked up. He didn't fold, didn't snitch, he stayed true to the code. As a reward, the BDs handed him control of the BD Tower at the Robert Taylor Homes on State Street. They trusted him because he wasn't just loyal, He was smart, strategic, and knew exactly how to run things like a boss.
So stand down, you ain't got to worry about him coming to retaliate or what's this, that, and the other. So it's just what it was, you know what I mean? That's just what it was. And do I believe he was backdoored by the people who he went on this thing with? Yeah, but I don't have any proof, and I only speak facts, you know what I mean? I only speak facts, and whatever in the dark got to come to the light, and no soul shall taste death without God's permission. So that's just what it is.
This was the era when King Von's pops, Silk, really started stacking serious cash. Word on the streets was that he hit millionaire status young, way before most people even figure out what they want to do with their lives. Everybody in the city knew who Silk was. He walked through the neighborhood like royalty, respected, loved, and known for always taking care of his people. He had a heart, but don't get it twisted. He kept his circle tight, only rolling with a few real ones he trusted. Silk wasn't just out here hanging with anybody. If you were part of his crew, you had to be ready for whatever came your way. No hesitation, no fear. That lifestyle was real, dangerous, and unpredictable. And when you think about it, that sounds exactly like someone else we all know, King Von himself. Tay Capone once said in an interview, "Not everyone could hang with Von, because if you were rolling with him, you knew a shootout could pop off at any moment and you had to be ready to use that strap." The same energy ran in the bloodline. Even while living fast, Silk loved the good life. He wasn't shy about spending big, especially when it came to cars. He'd pull up to the block in something new and shiny every few weeks, turning heads every single time. When Silk showed up, the whole neighborhood lit up. The music got louder, people came outside, and the vibe just shifted.
I got a special connection to him. I don't have the BD OTF connection. I got a different type of connection. When I saw nigga, I saw my big brother again. Big bro died, I saw my big brother again. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like, I'm with big bro every day. Kill his daddy with a sniper rifle. This shit get deep though, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, sniper. I hit him with a sniper rifle at the skate rink, but you know, that's another story. He was a different nigga, you know what I'm saying? But he just like Von, big heart. You got a big heart.
He was like a hood celebrity, the type of dude everybody wanted to be around. And then there was his player side. Rumor had it that Silk carried a fat key ring full of keys, not for cars, but for women's cribs. Every key belonged to a different woman, and they trusted him enough to let him come by whenever he wanted. That's how deep his charm ran. Between the money, the cars, and the love from the ladies, Silk was living life large, counting Benjamins, and keeping the whole hood talking. That wild lifestyle came with consequences, and for Silk, it showed up big time. He ended up fathering 7 kids with multiple women, living fast and juggling too much at once. That's also why things fell apart between him and Von's mom. Because of that, Von and his pops didn't get to spend much real time together, even though deep down, the love was always there.
Von was set up that night. So therefore, this was orchestrated. The people were paid to kill him that night. Fist for fist, knife for knife, gun for gun. You don't have the right to pull a gun and we're fighting fists. It's a back door. It ain't gonna never make sense to you because you wasn't there for the payment to get dropped off to Lil Tim.
But let's be clear, Silk wasn't some deadbeat dad who just vanished. Reports say he truly cared for Von, and the distance between them wasn't by choice. The truth is, Silk was constantly in and out of jail, caught up in the same streets that made him who he was. Despite all that, Von never spoke bad on his father. Not once. He looked up to him like a hero, always tweeting about how the streets took his dad away too soon. That hurt stayed with him forever. Silk's story ended tragically. He was taken out when Von was just 11 years old, barely old enough to understand what really happened. The streets have 2 different stories about his death, and both are chilling. One version claims that Silk robbed the wrong person, someone who wasn't about to let it slide. According to what OTF Vonnie's father Hassan Craig said, Silk had broken into someone's home and took their cash. But what he didn't know was that the house had cameras rolling. Once the person saw the footage and realized it was Silk, revenge came quick and deadly.
How you know that this payment was dropped off to Lil Tim? I heard you say you was with him.
I'm with him.
Okay, so well, take us back to that day when you and Vonnie went to go drop off the bag. How did that happen? What was going on?
Vonnie come get me from the house. They already got the money ready in the back of the Suburban, maybe a 97, 98 Suburban, and give me a pipe. I don't ask no questions. We roll and we go to the country part of Georgia, and we can even pull my phone records, and that may let us know because my phone started roaming. This how deep we was in the sticks.
Even though Von's pops was loved and respected by many, he had just as many enemies, jealous people waiting for a reason to take him down. In the end, The same streets that built his name were the ones that took his life, leaving behind a son who'd one day carry that pain into his own legend. So honestly, it wouldn't be shocking if Silk got backdoored by somebody he trusted. That's just how the streets move, full of snakes, lies, and fake smiles. One minute they're your people, the next they're plotting behind your back. Betrayal runs deep when money and power are on the line. Now, some folks question that first story about how Silk was killed, saying it doesn't really make sense. After all, the man was loaded. He didn't get rich by robbing random people. But let's keep it real. Having money doesn't always mean someone won't make a move when they see an easy target. Nobody's saying Silk was out here stealing. This is just what the streets been whispering. You also gotta remember, Silk wasn't no rapper, no entertainer, and definitely not someone out here chasing fame.
My phone was roaming, and we sitting on the side of the highway in a neighborhood, though, a little 2-lane highway, sitting on the side of the highway. Little Tim come flying past us on a 4-wheeler. I didn't know who he was, I didn't know the name. But prior to that, let's go back, prior to that, we pull up on Quando at Quando's crib. My son tried to get the money to Quando. Quando say, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. You gotta go take care of yourself. Like,
He wasn't dropping tracks about his life or flexing on social media like dudes do now. He was a real street hustler, focused on stacking paper and keeping business tight. Because of that, not much info about his moves exists today. No interviews, no videos, no posts, just stories passed down from those who knew him or heard about his legend. Now, the second theory about Silk's death, that's the one most people believe. See, this wasn't the new era of Chicago, where folks get ambushed at gas stations or tracked by the ops through social media. Back in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, the game was different. The streets had their own code and their own methods. And when they wanted to handle an op back then, they did it in ways that were quiet, personal, and cold-blooded. Back in those days, the streets of Chicago moved different, real different. The hitters weren't sloppy or loud, they were calculated. You wouldn't even see the bullet or the shooter coming until it was already too late. Whole neighborhoods were like military zones, organized, disciplined, and deadly. In the projects, especially those high-rise buildings, people say they actually had snipers on the rooftops keeping watch over the block. And no, that's not a rumor. That's how real it was.
you're not finna put nobody else's money in my hand and they say it was short or whatever the case may be. You take that to him. You understand? So we end up taking the money to the guy. But I'm not knowing what it's for. I don't know whether or not they finna get some weed later on or what they finna do. I don't know. You know what I mean? But by him saying, Lil Tim running from the police on the 4-wheeler, and like I said, it's like we're in the middle of a drug deal. So I know I Googled my phone because I got a partner named Tim from Memphis.
If you were a stranger creeping too close to their turf, you might suddenly see a tiny red dot glowing on your chest. That was your warning. It meant they spotted you long before you even got near. And if you didn't turn back or show respect, they could drop you right there. Chicago's hoods in that era didn't play games. It was survival of the sharpest. Then came July 31st, 2005, the day Silk's story took its final turn. Just like the second theory claims, he was set up and betrayed by someone he thought was a friend. It wasn't about a robbery. Silk wasn't out there snatching from people. He was making big money as a dealer. But that day, everything went sideways. Word is, it all started from a deal gone bad. Silk was at the Rink, a roller skating spot on East 87th Street. Just another night out, probably thinking it was business as usual. But out of nowhere, a sniper hit him clean in the head from a distance. One shot, and it was over instantly. Right there on the spot, the streets lost one of their biggest names, and a young King Von lost the man he looked up to the most. Von's uncle later confirmed it himself in an interview. His big brother Silk was taken out by a sniper rifle. That detail sent chills through the streets because it showed just how dangerous and calculated the hit really was. Most people believe Silk was hit from a distance because nobody could get close enough to him. He was too respected, too feared, always alert and moving smart. Trying to sneak up on Silk in person was nearly impossible. Word spread fast that Walter E. Bennett, the man everybody knew as Silk, was allegedly taken out by someone known in the streets as Killer Wall.
He got caught up running through the woods with bags of money and everything. You can Google it. You know what I mean? And it's the same situation. So it played in my mind because like I said, it's like we're in the middle of a drug dealer. We got money, we got pipes. My man Tim, he got caught up running from the police in the woods Matter of fact, I'm gonna just say his name, Timothy Woods.
That name alone carried a dark reputation. People said he was tied to a crew called Radome, and when that name started floating around, everyone knew this wasn't some random hit. It was planned and executed with precision. Even though Von was just a kid when it happened, losing his dad to the streets marked him for life. That pain sat deep inside him and shaped everything he later became. You could hear the emotion whenever he rapped about Silk from Ada Park, and you could see it in how often he posted about his father online. Von didn't just miss his dad, he honored him, keeping his memory alive through every lyric, every story, and every moment he shared with the world. That's not a son holding grudges. That's a son who straight up idolized his father. Even though Von didn't get to spend much time with Silk, it's clear he cherished every single memory they had together. You could feel the love just by how he spoke about him. And honestly, beyond their looks, they were like mirror images. Two sides of the same coin. Both Silk and Von started stacking money young, moving through the streets with confidence and power. They were feared, respected, and had that same unshakable loyalty that made people ride for them no matter what. Both were smooth talkers, charming the ladies and carrying that natural magnetism that made everyone pay attention when they walked in a room. They didn't run with big crowds either, just small, tight crews they could trust, or at least thought they could. Sadly, both father and son were betrayed by people they considered friends. The same loyalty they showed others wasn't always given back.
You can Google it, Memphis, Tennessee, running from the police, and got caught with 200,000 in the woods and all this type of crazy stuff. So the situation reminded me of that. And then for this to be the same person that ended up shooting Von, this is what that money had to be for.
So now the big question is, what do you think? Do you believe Von was really backdoored by people from OTF? Maybe even Voney himself? Or is that just another rumor spinning through the internet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what y'all think. And if you like this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Hit that next video on either side, 'cause trust me, it's about to get even crazier.